alleged rapist.
With a meat cleaver.
The 39-year-old woman says she is the victim. And it started a heated debate.
This is not America. This is not justice. This is abuse of power.
Yes, it
The
is.
well-educated mother orchestrated a horrific murder, then sabotaged the investigation.
You don't get a pass to become a vigilante and kidnap people and kill them.
Or was she the victim at the center of it all?
Do you ask yourself, how did I get here?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I rewind so many events in my life. I rewind so many things in my mind.
To try and make sense of this mystery, you do have to rewind. All the way back to 1974, the year Patricia was born in a small farming town in southern Mexico.
It was just a very rural, rustic place. It's a town with unpaved streets, no sewage, no running water.
The family moved to Southern California for a better life. But Patricia's life here wasn't easy. She says her dad physically abused her mother.
My father had lots of difficulties. He was an alcoholic, and he was quite violent with her.
And Patricia says she too was victimized by her dad, claiming he had sexually abused her beginning when she was just 5 years old.
As a 5-year-old, I couldn't go to anybody for help. Who could I go to? I couldn't go to him. He was the one abusing me. I couldn't go to my mother when she couldn't stop him from beating her. So I really had nowhere to turn.
Apparently, Patricia didn't tell anyone at the time. Both her mother and sister learned about the abuse later. Patricia's brother said their father eventually admitted to him that the abuse had happened. But the brother also said his father would not respond to our questions about it.
The way that I dealt with all that chaos was to throw myself into my books, into education.
So the bad things that were happening in your life were really driving you to essentially be a better person.
Absolutely.
To better yourself.
Yeah.
And all her studying paid off. She excelled, earning a scholarship to attend high school at Phillips Exeter Academy, a prestigious boarding school in New Hampshire.
It just must have been a culture shock to go from the life that you had to this very privileged surrounding.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Did you feel like you were living the American dream?
Oh, absolutely. I've always been so grateful to the U.S.
She probably could have had her pick of any Ivy League school, but chose to attend Pomona, a top-notch college near her family's California home. But on one weekend in her sophomore year, her dreams of a happy college life were dashed. It was March 1995 when she made a decision that would haunt her for the rest of her life.
I was a very serious student. I wasn't a drinker. I wasn't a partier.
Although she didn't go out often, one Saturday night, Patricia decided to go to the El Cortez nightclub. There, someone caught her eye.
I met this person, and we exchanged numbers.
What was it about him that attracted you?
There was really nothing attractive or unattractive. It was just somebody who seemed to be nice. I didn't think that I would be seeing this person again.
But he called the very next morning and invited Patricia to breakfast, along with her sister and friend. After they ate, he offered Patricia a ride back to campus.
When we get to Pomona, he says, before I go, would you mind if I get a glass of water? So we go to my dorm room.
And it was then, she says, the casual date turned terrifying.
When we're inside, he tells me that he wants to have sex, and I tell him no, I'm not interested. He starts to get aggressive and starts to try to kiss me, and I push him away. We're struggling. And then ultimately, he takes off my pants and he forces himself on me. When he's finished, I just turn away from him, and I'm half naked, and I curled up into a ball, and I just start sobbing. When he gets to the door, he tells me, "You have a lot of problems," and he walks away.
Patricia says she was raped, and like many victims, she felt somehow it was her fault.
Oh, God, I felt so dirty and so ashamed, and I was just blaming myself. I thought, my goodness, why? Why did you do this? Why did you bring him here? Why did you trust him?
Patricia didn't call the police, but the next day she went to her college health center where she says she saw a nurse, but says the nurse didn't take any action to report her rape allegation.
I told her that I had been raped, and I remember her reaction because it made me feel just as ashamed. She didn't want to deal with it. She walked away.
Patricia herself had walked away from terrible experiences before, but moving on from this proved nearly impossible, especially when just weeks later, police found a body.
A body? When we come back, a strange and sinister puzzle.
I've been to a lot of scenes in my career, but this one was a little more gruesome.
A mystery victim, a crime of passion, and on a phone bill, a clue.
There was a handwritten note that said Patty.
Nexus introduces a new movement in hair. A beautiful fluidity. Restoring strength and flexibility. So it moves and responds the way you do. New improved Nexus with concentrated elastin protein and precious ingredients for hair that lives to move.
Introducing Light and Fit Protein Shakes, the new way to help make temptations shrink away. With 12 grams of protein, 5 grams of fiber, and 0% fat. New Light and Fit Protein Shakes taste the power of satisfaction.
Why can't powerful sunscreen feel great? Actually, it can. Neutrogena Ultra Sheer. Its superior UVA UVB protection helps prevent early skin aging and skin cancer, all with the cleanest feel. It's the best for your skin. Neutrogena Ultra Sheer.
So, if you have a flat tyre, dead battery, need a tow, or lock your keys in the car, Geico's emergency roadside assistance is there 24/7. Oh dear, I've got a flat tyre. Yeah, can you find a take where it's a bit more dramatic on that last line, yeah? Yeah, I got it right here. Someone help me! I have a flat tyre! Well, it's good for me. What do you think?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Trying to do too many things at the same time just doesn't work very well. That's why Trivago focuses on comparing hotels and works very hard at finding your ideal hotel for the best price. Hotel Trivago.
Ozzy, give me the ketchup, please.
Make dinner happier with the great taste of Heinz.
Hi.
Hi, we're here to look at a Camry.
We just came from a birthday party. Oh, let me get you a new one.
Those Camrys are so reliable.
Yeah. And you gotta love that bold new styling. Here you go. Whoa.
Wow.
Those balloon towers don't make themselves.
During Toyota time, get 0% APR financing for 60 months on a bold 2015 Camry. Offer ends June 1st. For great deals on other Toyotas, visit Toyota.com.
Thanks, Jan.
Thanks, Jay. Now you both have Camrys.
Yeah. Toyota, let's go places.
Hannibal is one of the few shows to win a perfect score on Rotten Tomatoes. And it beat every other show to win Hulu's Best of the Best.
Where is Hannibal?
You're drawing them to you, aren't you? He's playing with us.
Always.
Isn't it time you discovered Hannibal? Premieres June 4th after Aquarius, here on NBC.
Monday, May 25th, it's the return of American Ninja Warrior.
I can surprise people with what I'll do.
Then, can 14 ordinary men survive the island?
It will chew you up and spit you out.
It's Ultimate Challenge Monday, here on NBC.
Weeks after Patricia had her fateful encounter at El Cortez nightclub, two men went to the same club and had a life-changing encounter of their own.
I believe they were just heading home, and approximately a mile and a half from the club, they were rear-ended by a white van.
Dean Fulcher was a detective back then with the Santa Ana police.
Was this just a minor traffic accident?
It was just a fender bender.
Gonzalo Ramirez's pickup truck had been rear-ended by a white van. Gonzalo's friend in the passenger seat said not to stop.
Gonzalo said, no, we got to pull over and exchange information.
As the friend later told police, when Gonzalo got out of his truck, several men got out of the van. The men attacked Gonzalo. The friend ran to get help.
He just turned and ran northbound on the street at that time.
Gonzalo's friend came back to the accident scene with police, but the white van was gone.
The police arrive. Is Gonzalo there?
He's nowhere to be found.
He's just vanished.
Correct.
Any signs of a struggle?
There were. I believe a shoe that we believe belonged to Mr. Ramirez, a watch, and then there was also a small amount of blood.
Gonzalo was now missing, possibly kidnapped. Police had no idea where he might be or who would have kidnapped him. Now frantic, the friend called Gonzalo's family at 3 that morning. After hearing the news his brother was missing, Carlos Ramirez started making phone calls.
I called his friends. Hey, have you seen my brother? No.
Carlos drove around that night, searching, but never found Gonzalo. At 8:30 the next morning, Easter Sunday, 1995, investigator Larry Montgomery got a call at home. He immediately knew something bad had happened.
And it was my sergeant, and he told me that there was a body found, and I was to respond.
Montgomery, at the time, was an experienced detective with the Irvine, California Police Department. He was used to dealing with murders, but this one stood out.
I've been to a lot of scenes in my career, but this one was a little more gruesome just because of the sheer amount of injury to the body. He was definitely hacked to death.
The man's body had been found near a stretch of the 405 freeway. He had clearly suffered a brutal death. His body was sliced dozens of times with some kind of heavy-bladed knife, like a meat cleaver or machete. His right hand was nearly severed, and oddly, there was some kind of blue towel-like material wound around the body.
The blue towel was wrapped all around it, from the torso and legs all the way up to the neck area. It was wrapped around 5 times around the neck, and then several times around the eyes.
One thing was clear to police. This murder was personal.
After looking at the victim's injuries, I would say that it was really consistent with somebody who had some sort of heat of passion, because the injuries are just consistent with somebody very angry.
Detectives had so many questions. Who was this man, and why had this happened to him?
One of the problems we had is we have no identification on the victim.
Another day passed. It was now Monday. Gonzalo's family heard that a body had been found in the area. Praying it wasn't their brother, they called police.
When this man called, he identified himself as he had a brother that was missing from Santa Ana area, and he was possibly kidnapped, and so he thought that it was very possibly his brother that was the victim.
Police were able to connect the dots rather quickly. The body they'd found was that of Gonzalo Ramirez, and when his family went to identify his remains, they couldn't believe how he looked. Gonzalo's brother, Benito.
When we pick up my brother, we couldn't recognize his face. It's very sad. You know, I don't want nobody see or one of his family like we saw it.
Gonzalo left behind 2 little daughters, just 1 and 2 years old.
He was a very good person. He was a responsible person. We have no idea why.
Police were also trying to find out why. Their only witness was Gonzalo's friend, the last person to see him alive.
He was pretty detailed and able to give the responding officers at that time a lot of good physical descriptions of both the vehicle and the suspects.
But the friend said he had no idea who the men in the white van were, or why a fender bender turned into a kidnapping and murder.
Where do you go from there when you don't even know who these men are?
Well, generally, you would start with the individual who's been kidnapped, looking into their background, seeing what's going on in their life, whether they have financial issues, maybe a love relationship that's ended.
Detectives interviewed Gonzalo's friends, work associates, and family members, and got nothing.
I don't think they were able to provide anything that really could point the detectives at that time in the right direction.
But eventually, investigators stumbled across something in Gonzalo's home, something very curious scribbled on his phone bill.
There was a handwritten note that said Patty, and there was 2 numbers.
Was this Patty someone they needed to talk to right away?
It was.
Coming up,
I was just weeping and crying. It was really hard.
Patty is about to open up to the police.
That's kind of a twist. That threw a whole new element into the investigation.
When Dateline continues.
Chase freedom. The card is for the essentials. The cash back is for the fun. Chase, so you can.
Our Pizza Hut Big Flavor Dipper Pizza is almost 2 feet of pizza. Whoa. You're gonna need a bigger car.
Get the new Big Flavor Dipper Pizza with 4 flavorful sauces and a free Pepsi 2-liter with online orders. Just $12.99. Only at Pizza Hut.
Incredible! I've been Claritin cleared for 10 days.
When your allergy symptoms start, doctors recommend taking 1 Claritin every day of your allergy season for continuous relief.
With powerful 24-hour non-drowsy Claritin, live Claritin clear. Every day.
It's easy to buy insurance and forget about it, but the more you learn about your coverage, the more gaps you may find. Like how you thought you were covered for this.
It's a profound statement.
But you're not even covered for this.
It's a profound statement.
Or how you may be covered for this, but not for something like this. Talk to farmers and see what gaps could be hiding in your coverage.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Catch the SNL season finale with host Louis C.K. and musical guest Rihanna this week on NBC.
Nissan gave a lucky few the ride of their life in the 2015 Nissan Altima.
Where am I going? Where am I going?
Nissan Altima with blind spot warning and up to 270 horsepower. Get the ride of your life at your local Nissan store. Choose the 38 mpg Highway Altima and get up to $1,000 bonus cash on top of existing offers. Bonus cash ends June 1st. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Nissan, innovation that excites.
There are a lot of channels on your TV, but only so many you want to watch. What if you could pay for the types of channels you want, and not the ones you don't? Now, Fios brings you a totally new way to customize your TV at a price that's totally affordable, starting at $74.99 per month. Get custom TV, including internet and phone, price guaranteed for 2 years. Plus, get a $300 Visa prepaid card with your 2-year agreement. Go to getfios.com today. Cable just gives you channels. Fios gives you choice.
If you're looking for a car that drives you and takes the wheel right from your very hands, this isn't that car. The first and only car with direct adaptive steering, the 328 horsepower Q50 from Infiniti. Lease the all-wheel drive Infiniti Q50 for $309 a month. Visit your local Infiniti retailer.
State police make a massive pot bust at a Virginia recording studio. Details at 11.
The biggest stars are coming together in a benefit for children in the U.S. and around the world.
All people see is this nose. I haven't worn pants in weeks. Nobody knows.
Thursday at 8, here on NBC.
Santa Ana police were trying to solve the mystery of who had kidnapped, tortured, and murdered Gonzalo Ramirez. The leads were thin until they stumbled across Gonzalo's phone bill, where he'd written the name Patty, along with 2 phone numbers. They were eager to find her. Mike Murray, an Orange County Deputy District Attorney, didn't work this investigation back in 1995, but later joined the case.
They called this Patty?
They did.
And where did it lead them?
They contacted her, and she agreed to come down to the police department and discuss Gonzalo Ramirez.
The mysterious Patty, it turned out, was then college student Patricia Esparza.
I'm Detective Mays. This is Corporal Buckles, who worked for the Santa Ana Police Department.
She told the police that Gonzalo Ramirez was a young man that she had met at a club in Santa Ana several weeks prior, that they had danced together. She liked him. He seemed to like her. They exchanged phone numbers.
That's how her name and numbers came to be scribbled on Gonzalo's phone bill. But Patricia didn't seem too concerned about why she was being questioned about Gonzalo.
At what point does she say, what is this about? Why are you asking me about this man?
And she never does.
She never asked?
I don't ever recall her asking that question to the police during that interview.
In the interview, Patricia reluctantly told her story about what happened in the dorm room with Gonzalo.
While in your dorm, he took sexual advances of you to the point of even possibly being raped by him. Was this correct?
Yes. He turned around and kissed me, and I just stopped him right away. And I got up at that instant when he kissed me, and I was walking towards another chair, and then he got up also, and that's when it happened.
She told the police that he had sexually assaulted her.
That's kind of a twist. I mean, that threw a whole new element into the investigation. What did they make of it?
Well, initially, they just wanted to hear what she had to say.
She said the rape happened about 2.5 months earlier, but this was the first time she was reporting it to the police. All the while, she says her world was falling apart.
I was just weeping and crying. It was really hard to put myself together. I wasn't doing my assignments as I should have. My grades were dropping, and so I wasn't able to deal with the rape as well as I had wished I had.
She also told police that after the alleged rape, she confided in an ex-boyfriend named Gianni Van. They dated for about 7 months, but were no longer together. Still, one day when Gianni stopped by her dorm room, she broke down and told him what happened.
That must have been hard to finally open up. Yeah. I didn't feel that I wanted to, but I guess I did want somebody to be there and understand. I wanted somebody to just listen to me and just make me feel that I wasn't so dirty and so ashamed.
Did he help you? Did he make you feel better?
At first, but then he became angry, and I didn't understand why. I mean, yes, of course, you would be angry, of course, if somebody did it to your sister, to your friend, but we weren't together anymore.
She told detectives about Gianni, and they listened very carefully.
Did you have a boyfriend at that time?
Mm-hmm.
What's his name?
Gianni Van.
What is it?
Gianni? Well, he wasn't my boyfriend at that time, actually. We have broken up.
He was upset about it?
Yeah, of course.
She did tell Gianni that she had been raped by a man named Gonzalo, but she said she wouldn't tell Gianni what his full name was or anything about how to locate him, that she just wanted Gianni to comfort her, didn't want him to try and find this guy and retaliate in any way.
Was he expressing that he did want to retaliate?
She said that he was angry. She didn't say he wanted to retaliate, just that he was angry and he wanted to know more details than she wanted to disclose.
An angry ex-boyfriend? Could he have been angry enough to track down Gonzalo on his own? Investigator Dean Fulcher.
Did this give the detectives something to cling on to, that he was so angry about the rape claim?
Absolutely. I mean, you now have a motive for somebody wanting to do what they had done to Mr. Ramirez.
Detectives wanted to talk with Gianni Van, and they would soon find a key piece of evidence that they believed could tie him to this murder.
So the detectives must be thinking we've got our guy.
They do.
Coming up.
You tell me right now why you're not the guy.
Intense moments in the interrogation room.
Was it a meat cleaver?
Just what kind of evidence did they have against the man named Gianni Van?
It was a huge clue.
If you have moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis like me, and you're talking to your rheumatologist about a biologic, this is Humira. This is Humira helping to relieve my pain and protect my joints from further damage. This is Humira giving me new perspective. Doctors have been prescribing Humira for 10 years. Humira works for many adults. It targets and helps to block a specific source of inflammation that contributes to RA symptoms.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Talk to your doctor and visit Humira.com. This is Humira at Work.
Relay for Life. Help the American Cancer Society finish the fight. Donate now at relay.org.
What would happen if all the artists, the geniuses, the scientists decided to change the world? What if there was a place where nothing was impossible? You want to go?
Disney's Tomorrowland, rated PG.
Stick vacuums are supposed to make life easier, but that hasn't always been the case. Only the latest Dyson cordless vacuums have a powerful V6 digital motor to generate more suction than all other stick vacuums, even corded ones.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.